So how's it going, ladies and gents, and welcome back to the channel. Hope you're doing great. So today we're going to Master Duel and actually check out the deck that we just added with our 2 copies of our Guardian Chimera. Now if you don't know Guardian Chimeras, you can, once it's fusion summoned to the field, you can pop 2 cards on the field or 1 card on the field depending on the materials you have on your field, or draw the number of cards you have on your hand. So basically it's a pretty good card once you added that one on specific or specified decks. Now, without further ado, I won't hold you long. Let's get into Master Duel and check that deck out.
A few moments later.
So this is the branded Despia deck that I want to showcase to you guys today. And yes, this is a little bit similar to the Despia Albaz deck that I showcased on my previous videos. But with this, I removed Albaz in general for the main deck, and for the extra decks, all of its fusion monsters are also removed. Now, I would like to shout out to Azure Darkness Yugi for actually commenting regarding its old Dark Lord Despias, and that he wanted to try the Chimeras with the previous build that we have. Well, Azure, I actually used the 2 Chimeras on my previous build with the Albaz and the Despias, but with regards to consistencies, it was not really the best, and it got bricked from time to time. And with that, Azure, I think you already know about this regarding the patchwork engine, and yes, it is better with this deck. Of course, just remove the Albaz. It's not really important at this deck at the moment. But yeah, like I said, we're gonna start off first in the main deck with 3 copies of Tragedy, so we can actually use this one on our Foolish Burial, our branded opening, and even our Super Poly, which every time it's sent to the graveyard, it prompts it to effect. Next, we have 3 copies of Maxis just for draw power, 3 copies of Ash Blossom just for a simple disruption, 3 copies of HM Chain. Now there are some cases for some engine for the HM Chain that people are going 3 offs of every polymerization, HM Chain, and even patchwork. But it's much preferable. It's good for this deck to just have 3 copies of HM Chain, 2 copies of polymerization, and of course 2 copies of patchwork. This is because there's some cases where you'll draw into 2 copies of patchwork or 2 copies of polymerization, which you don't like to have on your starting hand. So that is my understanding with the deck that I have right now. Now, in the inclusion of this deck, we have also the DPE package or the DPE engine. We have the Celestial, the Dasher, the 2 copies of Fusion Destiny, and of course our very own Destiny Hero Destroy Phoenix. Now moving forward, we have 3 copies of Albaz just for your search into Theater. Now if you already have Theater on hand, just go ahead and search for the branded in red, which is pretty much useful for the deck. Then we have Dramaturge of Despia. Now I tried 2 or 3 copies within this deck. I tested this out yesterday, but it bricks from time to time, and without a polymerization on hand, it's not really the best of hand. You could try 2 copies of Dramaturge of Despia and 2 copies of Ad Libitum, but increase the ratio of your polymerization and then remove 1 more copy of HM Chain. Just having 2 HM Chain, 3 copies of polymerization, and of course 2 copies of patchwork, so just to avoid bricking. So like I said, 1 copy of Dramaturge of Despia, and then 3 copies of Ad Libitum of Despia. Now Ad Libitum, if you have a lot of fusion monsters on your graveyard or even out of play, you can just special summon that one to your side of the field. And not only that, it can also special summon a Despia monster from the graveyard or even out of play. So it's a good card once it's used as a fusion material. So next up, we have your magic cards or your spell cards. So we don't use trap cards for this deck. So first off, we go with Regeki just to prompt an effect for any monsters that can negate or disrupt. Second, we go with 2 polymerizations, 1 Foolish Burial for Tragedy, 2 Patchworks, 2 Fusion Destinies, 1 Despia Theater of the Branded. Now there are some cases you can use 2 copies, but you would actually go beyond 40 cards. It's up to you, but 1 copy is enough. So in some cases, Theater would be destroyed and sent to the graveyard. All you have to do is just banish your Tragedy and send it back to your side of the field face down, so you can activate it on your turn. Next up, you have Super Polymerization, 2 copies of this, because in some cases you have actually Mud Dragon of the Swamp, and it goes well with most of the meta nowadays. So you have your Floanderies monsters with the same attributes, and of course, if you're going up against the Adventure Engine or the Prank Kits, it's pretty useful also for super polymerization. Next up, you have 2 copies of Called by the Grave, 3 copies of Branded Opening just to search off, and for your protection of your level 8 and higher fusion monsters. And lastly, you're branded in red just for a quick spell summon, and of course reviving or resourcing out your monsters that is center graveyard back to your hand. So on your extra deck to start off, we have 1 copy of Mud Dragon of the Swamp, 1 copy of Starving Venom Fusion Dragon, 1 Predaplant Dragostipelia, 2 copies of Quartus, 1 DPE, 3 copies of Masquerade the Blazing Dragon, because this card is really good with metas nowadays. If you're going up against Prank Kits, this card is pretty good against that kind of matchup. Next up, we have Predaplant Trifaveratum. So Trifaveratum, it needs only 3 dark monsters on the field, so it's pretty good when using super polymerization. So we have your Starving Venom and of course Predaplant Trifaveratum. So those are the 2 cards that's very good with the super poly. And also, we included our 2 copies of Guardian Chimera. Next up, you have Despia and Proskinian, which is allows you to spell summon another type of monster from your opponent's graveyard. It's pretty good. And of course, your very own the first Dark Lord. Now, the first Dark Lord has a lot of good effects. It can spell summon a fairy monster from your graveyard. First and foremost, it gives out protection, so your opponent can target fairy monsters you control. And of course, you don't have to worry about Chimera, because once a copy of polymerization is in your graveyard, it is untargeted by card effects. So it's still very good for this deck. And lastly, you have here your last and only Link monster, the Predaplant Verte Anaconda, which of course allows you to summon your DPE, or can also search for your polymerization card. So that is the deck profile for you guys, and let's move on towards the replays, where I have a spicy gameplays for you guys. Enjoy. So here we are, guys, and the replays are the first replay. So I have 3 replays for you guys today, and this will always showcase the deck and its finest glory. Anyway, so to start off, we lost the coin toss, but we have a partly good hand. So we had Edge M Chain, Ad Libitum, 1 Theater, 2 Branded Openings. So let's start. I think we are going up against a mirror match for the branded deck. So you summon Albaz to the field, get a copy of Theater. Theater is then activated, and then he fused with, I think he summoned Quartus here. Yeah, he summoned Quartus to the field, and that's set 1 back row and then end his turn. So at this point on, we draw into Albaz, a copy of Albaz, but we're gonna start off with Branded Opening just to check if there is an Ash Blossom. Summon our Dramaturge to the field, sending our Edge M Chain to the graveyard. Edge M Chain will prompt its effect, get a copy of Patchwork, and use its effect to get the necessary cards or the necessary materials. I activate Theater and then summon my Albaz to get a copy of Branded in Red, just to check for other hand traps. But needless to say, there was none. So we move forward with Polymerization and summon our Chimera to the field. So use the effect of Chimera, and then Dramaturge will be special summoned back to the field. Now I think I managed to pop 2 cards on the field here. Yeah, pop 2 cards on the field and draw 1 card. So he chained with his Quartus and his Albaz. I will then chain with my Branded in Red, of course, just to summon Masquerade the Blazing Dragon, because Despia uses a lot of activations, or activates a lot of card effects. I think Quartus will prompt the effect and summon Albaz to the field. Yes, and then he could have targeted my Dramaturge, but I don't know. I think he knew what I'm thinking on using the Masquerade on. So he used my Masquerade as material and summoned his Starving Venom Fusion Dragon. Now this is a bad lineup actually, or this is a bad card that he is summoned to the field. So but nevertheless, it's still my turn. Masquerade is summoned to the field, or back to the field. Starving Venom gained an attack of 3,300, which is very bad. I then use Theater to summon Predaplant Dragostipelia, and then use its effect on the Starving Venom. Although the effect of Starving Venom was actually activated beforehand, nevertheless, I won't attack that one anyways, or I can't attack that one anyways. So all I have to do is kill his Albaz, set one branded opening, and end my turn. So at this point, I think I have a branded opening and my graveyard to protect my monsters. He then used his Starving Venom Fusion Dragons effect. I don't know why he did that, but I just chained with my Dragon Stipilia just in case. And then for some reason, he chained his Despian Comedy and sacrificed his Starving Venom. So I think he thought that once it's sent to the graveyard, it will prompt the effect of destroy all your monsters on my side of the field. So I think that's very bad. It needs to be destroyed. So the criteria didn't meet, and then he just sacrificed his Starving Venom for nothing. So that's basically it, and I think he scooped here. Yeah, that's basically it. So we have on our second game, guys. We got a good hand, but we lost still the coin toss. So Despian Tragedy, 1 Maxi, 1 HM Chain, and of course 1 Ad Libitum of Despia, and 1 Patchwork. So let's see. I think we're going up here against Sky Striker Adventure or Adventure Sky Striker. You start off with the Upstart Goblin. I chain with my Maxi. He uses Shark Cannon for some reason. I don't know why, but let's just let him be. Okay, so increase my life points by 1000. He draw 1 card. Activate Foolish Burial to send his Water Enchanters to the graveyard. Water Enchanters will then search for Rite of Aramasir. Activate Rite and summon the token. Activate the Fateful Adventure, set 1 card, and then that ends his turn. We got a copy of what did we get here? The Albaz. Oh yeah, we got Albaz for that one. We used Patchwork to prompt an effect of Ash Blossom. There was none, so we got the resources for that. Albaz is then summoned. He then chained with his Fateful Adventure and get his equip card for his token. Get a theater, activate the theater, and I think we summon Chimera in this replay. So we sacrifice 2 materials on hand, 1 on the field. So pop 1 card on the field, and then draw 2 cards, or draw 2 cards first, and then pop 1 on the field. I think that's the steps. There we go. So we draw into branded opening, and then we use branded opening to get a copy of Dramaturge. We then use our Polymerization. Since we have 3 fairies on hand, we might as well go for the first Dark Lord, and that is that. Since Dramaturge uses fusion material, and then Tragedy was sent to the graveyard, we managed to get 1 card, and of course special summon Dramaturge to our side of the field. Attack, and yeah, that Fateful Adventure is very annoying, but nevertheless we managed to deal a damage of 5,800 to his life points. And our turn with setting our Super Poly, and that's basically it. On his turn now, I think he uses Harpist, whether that's right. No, I could have used Super Poly to do Masquerade the Blazing Dragon, but nevertheless it was okay. He summoned a token, and then forgot what he used here. Oh yeah, he summoned Hayate. So the effect of Hayate is I don't want him to search any magic card or spell card, so I use the effect of Dramaturge to negate it. He then summoned his Kagari to his side of the field, which of course get a Shark Cannon. So he has Fusion Destiny on hand, which of course okay. I chained with the first Dark Lord, spell summon my Ad Libitum to the field. So at this point on, let's stop right here. So at this point on, my fairy monsters are untargeted by card effects, and Chimera is untargeted by card effects since there is a copy of Polymerization in my graveyard. Now the problem here is DPE is a untarget destroy card, so it's very bad. I think on his first turn here, he actually targeted my first Dark Lord, which of course we have protection from the branded opening, which is fine. It's just fine. So the only thing he can do is just destroy my Albaz and set 1 back row and his turn. So that's basically it. There we go, and on my turn, I think oh yeah, we got a lot of cards here. So I just want him to prompt the effect of DPE, so I used the effect of Dramaturge, which of course, he didn't target the first Dark Lord. He targeted my Dramaturge here, so I don't know why. Regardless, I think he used it to summon Shark Cannon, but that's my question. Why was it not targeting the first Dark Lord? But yeah, I think he did a misplay here. So that is basically it. On my turn, Despia Tragedy will send back or revive my Theater. Theater will be activated. And then I use or summon Albaz to the field, get a copy of Branded in Red. And then we move towards, I think I summon here another copy of Chimera. Yeah, another copy of Chimera. So 2 monsters on the field and yeah, 1 draw power. He scooped. So that's basically the gameplay. So here we are, guys, in the last gameplay, guys, and we managed to win the coin toss, but we have not the best of hand. Although we have a Tragedy, a Foolish Burial, a Call by the Grave, and a Fusion Destiny. Let's see what this can do. So we did Foolish Burial just for checking if there is an Ash Blossom. There was none. So we summon our Albaz to the field. Add Albaz and then summon Albaz to the field. Get a Theater. Theater will prompt. I think we summoned here Masquerade still. Yeah, Masquerade, and then we use Fusion Destiny to summon our DPE to the field. So that is that. Set Call by the Grave and end her turn. So I think we're going up against Lunar Light here, or Luna. I think that's the deck name. So it's pretty annoying. Yeah, I forgot about the effect of Luna, wherein you need to have another copy in the extra deck so to negate its effect. But yeah, very, very bad. So he keeps on using the effects of his monsters. I, well, dealt a ton of damage to his life points. Nevertheless, he returned my DP back to my extra deck, and of course, I need to Call by the Grave the Danger Bigfoot because it's very annoying. So yeah, he got another copy of Luna. I really hate that card. So on my turn, I only have Super Poly and 1 Raigeki. Despia Tragedy. I have 2 Despia Tragedies in the graveyard. Yes, I have. Okay, so that's why I managed to get my Theater back on the field. So I think here I still managed to survive. I think, yeah, I managed to survive. So this card pops 2 cards on the field and then Spell summons itself, which was fine. It was fine. So we have Super Poly here, but we have no card. Luckily, we drew into a monster, and then we have Dasher on the graveyard. Tragedy will send back or will revive back my Theater. And then we go for Super Polymerization, and I need to discard Raigeki, even though it was very useful. To get off my Masquerade Blazing Dragon. Now, since of course my Ad Libitum is used as a fusion material, I can summon my Albaz. Albaz will prompt, and then we got Ash Blossom for it. Nevertheless, it was fine. You can deal damage now. So yeah, I used Celestial and then drew 2 cards. Got a copy of Despia Tragedy and Patchwork, which was very, very good. I don't want to exhaust my resources, so I just attack, and then on my main phase 2, I use Polymerization to actually summon another copy of Masquerade Blazing Dragon. So that is that. Edge of Chain is, well, search for another Patchwork and end my turn. So at this point on, he can only do 1 activation of a card, which was very, very bad. He summoned Protoss to the field. That was very annoying. And I think I'm down to, how many life points here? 750 when he is on his 100 life points. So I got Ad Libitum Despia. Luckily, I still have my Patchwork, which I can search for. And then I searched for Quartus here, because I know I have another copy of Quartus, because I have 2 copies of Quartus. So Quartus in the field. He uses Effect Vader. I will chain with Quartus. He will then chain with his Luna Light, which he didn't know I have a second copy of Quartus. There we go. So he turn all his monsters attack points to 0, and then that would be game, but he's still scooped. So not giving me the victory on killing him. So nevertheless, that was the game. So those are the replays, guys, and that is the deck profile for today. Thank you all for watching. Please subscribe if you like this kind of video, and thank you so much for the likes. Keep safe, good luck, guys, and see you on the next deck profile, or basically see you in the next video. Bye bye.